At the age of 86, and fellow topiary artist Michael Gibson joins us now. Mr. Gibson, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I gather that as we speak, you're at the South Carolina State Museum trimming some of Pearl Fryer's artwork.
That is correct.
What's on display there?
Yeah, on either side of the steps of the entrance of the South Carolina State Museum, Pearl was commissioned back in 1997 to create a topiary garden in front of the museum. So he has these probably about 30-foot tall Leland cypress. It has the fishbone technique that became a signature style where he opens up the inside of the shrub or the tree and extends the branches outwards, opening up, making it look like a fish skeleton. There's some Yopon holly, some hedges that are just sculpted to perfection with fine lines and a very smoothness, which was key to Pearl's style.
What do you think made his art so extraordinary?
What Pearl would say all the time was it wasn't just the aesthetic that he was creating. He wasn't just making the sculptures just to make them look beautiful. He was creating a feeling. He was able to sculpt these trees and shrubs into abstract shape that invoked a feeling of love and made you feel more peaceful when you walked around his garden.
Well, let me ask you about his background, because I gather that Pearl Fryer was the son of a sharecropper, drafted into the Army, served in Korea as a chemical weapons specialist. Then he worked as a production engineer in a can factory. What led him to gardening?
It all started when he wanted to buy a nice home in a nice neighborhood, and this is the South in the 80s, and this is in Lee County, and there's a lot of racial tension. He wanted to get a home in an all-white neighborhood, and he was denied because they felt he couldn't upkeep his yard. He said black people don't upkeep their yard, and he was going to bring down the property value. So he kind of bought some land and built a home in a predominant black neighborhood and started beautifying his property by creating a roundabout driveway and hiring landscapers. That's when things started to click. He went to a local nursery and had the opportunity of seeing a demonstration being performed on the topiary and kind of got addicted to it and found that it was his piece. Gave him some stress relief when he got off of working these 12-hour shifts. And sculpting plants since I was 7. My idea of topiary was just classical topiary, geometric shapes, spirals. I had no clue that you can do all the different type of abstract forms that Pearl was doing, let alone the black topiary artist was just unheard of. From that day on, when I heard of Pearl, I knew exactly what I wanted to be. I found my purpose. I knew I wanted to be a topiary artist and help beautify the world with topiary. And, I finally had the opportunity of meeting him in 2016 and seeing these 30-foot tall selling ships of Turloso junipers, how unique he was able to bend branches and train them. I just loved that. He kind of poured into me, really spoke to me to want to continue on and follow in his footsteps. So from there, I returned every year and proposed to my wife in his garden.
Oh.
Pearl would give me so many great tips, and he always said, be creative. Don't try so hard to make it look like what it used to be. Be creative and show me what you can do. And I did. I did. I took that advice and ran with it. And Pearl came out one day and he gave me that nod of approval and said, this looks great. Looks like I did it, with a nice chuckle.
Topiary artist Michael Gibson speaking about
Grand Rising. It's Saturday morning, 8:35 a.m. Temp is 75 Fahrenheit. Here in southern Texas, agriculture zone 9A, 9B. And I'm up early, giving my car a good charge at the large Houston Tesla service center. So doing that right near my house. And as usual, I'm listening to talk radio. They're talking about a topiary guy who passed away, who does topiary for large plants, which is styling large plants. Little talk radio article on him about gardening. And also I've been listening to what's going on with the U.S. and Iran war. And right now, this morning when I woke up, this war is not over with, people. Right now, the price of oil per barrel has come down. It's come down to about, I'm thinking, $92 to $90 per barrel of crude oil here in the U.S., but it's still high. And what happened was, during this supposedly ceasefire, the U.S. is now blocking Iran transport of oil tankers out of Iran. The U.S. is doing its own blockade, just like Iran is doing its own blockade. So now you have two blockades in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran came out this morning and said that they have not opened the Strait of Hormuz. Iran came out and said, we have not opened the Strait of Hormuz. It's not open. Yesterday, Trump said it was open, and ships were going through. Iran said that's not true. They haven't opened it. So this thing keeps on going. And the ceasefire is over with next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, the ceasefire is over with. And they don't have a ceasefire agreement. They stalled the talk. They stalled the talks. The talks were stalled. So this Iran war, U.S. war, still continues with no resolution. There is no resolution in this thing. Trump may send troops on the ground. Trump may send boots on the ground. Military troops might have to be put on the ground. It could still happen. So as this day goes on, we're supposed to get a lot of rain today here in southern Texas, in the Houston area, zone 989B. So right now, it's the sun's out a little bit, not a whole lot, but the weather can change and can change fast. It has. So it's kind of cloudy. The sun's out a little bit. We're gonna see what's happening, and we're gonna get that rain today. So you guys have a nice morning. Get outside, detox, ground, grow some food your way. Be more self-sustainable. We are living in times where we have to be more self-sustainable, how we live our lives to save money, especially with all the unrest that's going on in the world with these wars. The price of everything is going up. And a lot of that has to do with the big AI shift, data centers, which uses a ton of electricity, a ton of water. So everything's going up. That's why every day I become more of a minimalist. Every day I try to get myself outside of Babylon and the Matrix and stop being a mass consumer and start being more of a mass producer. Harvesting my own solar power energy with my off-grid solar generators. Continue to buy more large batteries. Continue driving EV cars. I'm trying to get as much off the grid as I can. And it's all about saving money for me and the environment. So you guys have a nice day. Grow some food the way you want to grow food. Residential Life Wayne coming to y'all as I charge my Tesla up this morning and get my errands done for the day before that rain comes. Or if it comes. We never know. Y'all have a nice day. Ain't nobody coming to save us.